Today I'm going to show you how to create a sunflower paper plate weaving. So what you're going to need for this project, you're going to need some paper plates. I use like a generic paper plate. I like the stiffer ones, like the Chinette, but a generic one will be fine. Or if you just have a regular paper plate at your house, that'll be fine too. Anything that's round would probably work. You could probably use cardboard and paint it if you wanted to, if that's all you have. You're also going to need either some paint. You can use crayons. If you have markers, that will be fine. Whatever you have available will be fine for that. And then you're going to need some yarn. So we're going to do sunflowers today, so we're going to use yellow and brown yarn. You would probably want to make sure you have about 2.5 to 3 yards of each color. If you want to do a different kind of flower eventually, of course you can change what color yarns you have. And then you'll need to have available some tape, some scissors, and a pencil so that you can mark your petals. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to mark your plate to create your petals. And so it's very important that you have an uneven number. So it's really easy to create one that has an even number. It's a little trickier to make one that has an uneven number. So I just go around and mark and count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and get to this one has 13 petals. Okay, so it can be more, it can be less, but it always needs to be an uneven number of petals. And they don't have to be perfectly spaced. It's okay. You don't have to get that worried about it. And then once you do that, then you're going to want to cut into your, just a little notch. You're going to do a little notch in the side of your plate like this. Okay, and then if you want to, you can even notch it in just a little bit more on each one of these. That's going to help hold the yarn so it doesn't keep slipping out from your notches. And then when you get done creating this, it looks like a petal. If you want to, you can even cut them a little bit more to make them look more like a flower petal if you'd like. That's up to you. Or you can leave it just like this, whichever you prefer. Okay, and you'll have something that looks like this. If you want to cut the edges off a little bit more and curve them to make them look more like a petal, that is perfectly okay. That's a preference. But make sure that you kind of clip into them so that you have a notch that will hold your yarn. So it'll look something like this. So once you get this done, then you can paint it. Okay, you can use crayons in there if you'd like to. And of course we're doing it yellow because we're doing sunflowers, but if you want to do this in your own color choice, that would be fine too. And so what you'll do, you'll paint a thin coat. It'll go faster if you use crayons as far as drying time. But your paint, you want to make sure it dries. So you set it to the side for a little bit if you want to, or get a blow dryer on it and dry it a little bit faster. That would make it go a little bit faster. Whatever you choose to do. If it's paint, make sure it's good and dry before you start putting the yarn on. If it's crayon or markers, you can just go ahead and do it. And then you'll end up with something that looks like this. So now that you have your plate painted or markered or crayon, whichever it is, you're going to get your yellow yarn and a piece of tape and just put it like this, and you're going to put it to the back of your plate and just tack it on there. And then you're going to put your yarn into the notch like this, and you're going to go as halfway as you can. There's an uneven number, so it won't be exactly halfway. So you will have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 notches on one side, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 notches on the other, which are our petals. And I want you to start wrapping your flower on the side that has the most petals. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's the side we want to wrap. And you're not going to wrap all the way around your plate. You're only going to wrap the petals. So you put it in the notch and you go behind the plate and then put it in this notch. And then you're going to cross over to the other side and put it in this notch, and they'll cross over here in the middle. This is what we call our warp thread. And then you're going to keep twisting your plate, put it in the notch, bring it across, and you're just going to take this all the way around like so. Do not pull too tight. You don't want your paper plate to buckle in like this. You want it to stay flat, but you also want your warp thread to have a little bit of tautness in it. So you just have to kind of figure out the balance of that. And then you pull it through, and you have this piece that's left, and you have your yarns here. What you want to do is find the center and bring your yarn through there and pull it up, and you will see that it brings all of your warp threads together, and then you can just tie it on to another piece of yarn here and tie a nice little knot, and then push that knot to the back. That'll be fine. Do not cut it too close to your knot or it will unravel, so you don't want to do that. Then the next thing we're going to do is take our brown. It's going to make the center of our flower. I just like to wind up my yarn so it's not so much to pull through every time, so I just kind of do this and twist it up. And then you're going to put your yarn in. You need to, again, tie this onto one of the warp threads. We are now doing what's called the weft. It's going to make your web. The web is the material that you make when you weave. So we're now going to make the center of our flower. Start anywhere on any of your warp threads. Doesn't really matter where. And then you're going to, I'm going to say that this knotted piece is going to be my over. So then I'm going to go underneath the next one. And then I'm going to go over the next one. And I'm going to continue that pattern all the way around. And I'm kind of working to the outside of my flower, the flower here, and not really close to the inside. It's easier to see where I'm going. So I'm going to keep doing this. And the reason we did that odd number of petals is so that they will start to alternate right here. Can you see that this is under the thread and this went over? So those uneven numbers of petals are going to make it to where my inside will lock this weave. I'm going to pull it tight, and I'm going to continue all the way around until I get either to the end of my yarn, or if I decide that I don't have enough yarn and I wanted to add more, I can always tie it on. I could change colors if I want to. You can add multiple colors. That would be fun. And so you just keep doing this. I like to go around and not make it quite so tight at the beginning, and then once I get to a point I can pull my yarns in, and you can see how the first threads, the warp threads, kind of disappear into that, so that's nice. You don't see that much of that yellow on the inside. And so I'm going to keep doing this all the way around until I run out of yarn. Okay, and I'm going to pull it tight again. I can adjust. If this comes off like that, that popped off, just put it back on. It's okay. Just don't rip your paper. And you keep going around and around. I can tuck these little threads in here, and it looks like this. The tighter you pull, the less the warp thread you're going to see. You just keep going and going and going. Until you end up with, so you end up with something that looks like this. I'm just going to finish off this last little bit, and I will show you how you can finish this. Make sure that if when you pull it tighter like this, kind of put your hands in it like that, and you end up with a little bit more yarn, so you can go a little bit farther. and keep going and going, and you have that beautiful inside to your sunflower, and you'll end up with a little piece. You can either tie this piece on, or you can just tuck it in the back, which I find to be the easiest thing to do, and you have this beautiful sunflower weaving. And it would work with any flower, but we concentrated on sunflowers today. If you'd like to, you could put some green leaves on the back with maybe some paper that you have, and you have this beautiful, beautiful little project. So if you're doing this as part of our Create for a Cause initiative, make sure that you take a picture and post it with that hashtag. If you would be so kind, you can head over to the Sunflower Piece and donate. This is for the relief efforts in the Ukraine. That is part of our Create Art for a Cause initiative. And if you are affiliated with the school and you're doing this project, make sure that you include your school. Ours is Hugh Springs ISD, and let us see what you've done. And if you are inclined to make a donation, that would be just beautiful. Until next time.